The Government Accountability Series. We'll be back.
This is for socio-economic development. Under the purview of the ministry are 10 agencies, including the Lands, Minerals and Forestry Commissions, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, the Ghana Boundary Commission, the Office of the Administrator of Two Lands, the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation, GISDEC, the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, the Minerals Development Fund. The ministry actively collaborates with other ministries and private sector stakeholders, including traditional authorities, academic institutions, the media, civil society organizations, among others. Today, I'm privileged to highlight our achievements at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources year to date. I'll start with an update on the fight against illegal mining activities. The mining sector is a lifeline of millions of Ghanaians. As we all know, Ghana is blessed with an abundance of minerals: gold, diamonds, bauxite, iron, salt, and others. These natural resources are under unprecedented global strain due to rapid population growth, urbanization, escalating demand for raw materials, and the compounding effects of climate change. The government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama recognizes that for Ghana to fully harness the benefit of its mineral wealth, the law must be strengthened to ensure equity, sustainability, and shared prosperity for all stakeholders, especially our communities which bear the direct brunt of mining activities. That is why we are undertaking a comprehensive legislative and policy review at the Minerals Commission. The Minerals and Mining Act at 703/2024, as amended, are under review with extensive stakeholder engagement and at about 85% completion stage. And I have to note that we've really embarked on a national stakeholder engagements across the country. Some significant changes that we are pursuing is: one, to drastically reduce the number of years that prospecting licenses are held for from perpetuity to a defined minimal period, reducing the upper limit for number of years for the grant of a mining lease from 30 years to an agreed period, obviously very reduced years. 3, abolishing development agreements and enforcing the signing of community development agreements, imposing a rate of an agreed percentage of gross revenue from the sale of minerals to fund community development projects to help fast-track the development of mining communities. How many times have we talked about how mining communities are impoverished? These transformational changes will see the accelerated development of our mining communities. We are also introducing a three-tier mineral right regime by including a medium-scale mining. As we speak, we have only small-scale and large-scale. We envision the new law to have a medium-scale regime. We are also working to reduce the upper limit for stability agreements from the current 15 years to allow for capital recovery for huge investments only, or abolishing it altogether. Under the leadership of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and with extensive stakeholder engagements that include traditional authorities, civil society groups, academia, government is committed to ensure that the review of the Act corrects the imbalances of the past and secure a brighter future for the benefit of all Ghanaians. And that is why we are bent on making sure that we visit every region in the country to get the inputs of the people of Ghana. In the fight against Galamsey, it must be noted that 55 small-scale mining licenses issued during the transitional period were revoked at the beginning of the year. Additionally, 907 out of 1,278 licenses, and these are small-scale mining licenses, are now under review for possible revocation due to irregularities identified by the Small-Scale Mining Review Committee, chaired by my able Deputy Minister. A similar exercise is currently ongoing to review large-scale mining licenses to ensure compliance. These measures are all aimed at sanitizing the mining sector to ensure transparency and sustainable operations. In collaboration with other agencies, including the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Armed Forces, and the National Security Secretariat, and I must say that I've had a full cooperation of our various sector ministries, and I want to take the opportunity to thank them for their cooperation, including the Attorney General. 425 excavators and other machinery have been seized. We have also made 1,345 arrests nationwide since we started, and prosecutions are steadily progressing. I believe that the Attorney General will speak to these prosecutions and give us an update when he takes his turn. I'll specifically give you some numbers and to show you the specifics. And this is related to just the Forestry Commission and the forest reserves. 177 excavators have been seized under the Forestry Commission, 4 bulldozers, 12 vehicles, 43 motorcycles, and 155 pumping machines, 184 shamfans, 15 detector machines, and 10 heavy-duty generators have all been seized, and 286 persons have also been arrested. These are under the Forestry Commission, and they make up for the total numbers I gave earlier. To coordinate the efforts of the military, police, and other security agencies, and to bring proper sanity and coordination, the ministry, working closely with the Ministry of Interior, Defense, and the Attorney General, have established, and the National Security Secretary have established the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, we call it NAMOS, as the operational nerve center for Ghana's fight against illegal small-scale mining and its associated environmental degradation, particularly in water bodies and forest reserves. It embodies Ghana's coordinated response to the scourge of illegal mining, integrating security, environmental, and legal responses into a unified operational strategy. I'm also very excited to note that in collaboration with the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Finance under the GRA Customs Division and the Ports and Harbors Authority, we have initiated a proactive tracking of all imports of excavators and earth-moving equipment from the point of entry. So far, 1,200 excavators have been impounded, pending validations before clearance at the port. We are also developing a centralized digital platform named the Ghana Mine Repository and Tracking Software that has been deployed at the Minerals Commission and is at an advanced stage to support this initiative. The platform will serve as the single point of integration for all agencies, including Customs, DVLA, the Ministry of Transport, the Minerals Commission, National Security, and the NAMOS, and provide authorized institutions with real-time access to permit history, equipment location, and operational compliance. A pilot project of over 191 excavators is currently being tracked in the dedicated control room of the Minerals Commission. And this is very, very innovative. This is very, very new. As you know, we are now able to track the excavators before they even set off to come to Ghana. And when they get there, the Minerals Commission, DVLA, everybody is there. And we are also tracking them to the geofencing and geotracking control room at the Minerals Commission. And we believe that we are going to get to that point where every movement of excavator in this country is actually regulated. We are doing this grounded on LI 2404, which prescribes the mandatory registration of all earth-moving and mining equipment that is to be used in mining operations. LI 2404 ensures that machinery and equipment are tracked in real time and used only in mining areas for which they have been registered. To address the challenge of water pollution by illegal mining activities, the Blue Water Initiative was launched within the first 120 days in line with the government's manifesto promise. So far, over 450 personnel have been trained and deployed. I'm also happy to announce that the second batch of 530 blue water guards will be graduating just this Friday, 25th of July. The target is to train 2,000 blue water guards personnel by the end of the year. The deployment strategy for the blue water guards is non-confrontational. They act as intelligence officers and also engage with local community to raise awareness about the importance of environmental conservation and the negative impacts of illegal mining. I think already it is very clear that we are seeing the very positive impact of the presence of these blue water guards in our watering areas. The second phase of the Blue Water Initiative will focus on dechemicalizing the water bodies to restore them to their pristine conditions. Feasibility studies are steadily underway. The Minerals Commission, in consultation with the Chamber of Mines, has also completed its annual review of the 5th edition of the procurement list in compliance with Regulation LI 2431. That's Regulation 7.3. And I'm talking about local content and local participation. This is to enhance the local content regulation to increase Ghanaian participation and in-country value. We want to make sure that we get to the place after all these years of mining. We believe that Ghanaians have basically moved from the end of the bus and now they are in the driving seat. We must empower them to be really not only in large-scale mining, but they must really be in the forefront of the mining industry in all aspects, including the local content, including purchases, including procurement. And we believe that's the way we empower the people of Ghana. And the president is very, very, very serious about this effort. In line with the government's vision to create sustainable jobs through responsible corporate mining, Cabinet has approved the implementation and transition of the community mining scheme and the NALEP, the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program, into what we call the COPSDEP, Responsible Cooperative Mining and Skills Development Program. This new program will act as Ghana's flagship initiative to reform artisanal and small-scale mining by combining lessons from what we've learned in the past, the community mining scheme and NALEP, through community ownership for sustainable and responsible mining in a structured and regulated manner. I think I said this before. The reason why this is important is that ultimately when we say that we are negotiating with large-scale mining companies to identify locations for community mining and ownership, we must indeed make sure that the community owns those mining, and also making sure that we are empowering them in training and giving them the right tools to make sure they mine responsibly and sustainably. And that's exactly what the COMSDEC is intended to do. The program has successfully trained and supported 127 young people with startup kits for apprenticeship and skills development programs in partnership with Anglo-Glo, Ashanti, and GIZ. At its core, the program will foster the creation of locally owned mining cooperatives, providing members with professional training, legal concessions, and access to share processing for facilities equipped with modern recovery technologies and water treatment systems. And I move to the Forestry Commission. One of the greatest challenges at the forestry subsector is deforestation and forest degradation, largely due to illegal mining, illegal logging, wildfires, and unsustainable agricultural practices. Within the forest reserves alone, over 5,500 hectares. And I think I keep repeating this. That is equivalent to 7,500 football fields. That has been degraded. But I'm happy to announce that in collaboration with law enforcement agencies, the Forestry Commission has successfully repossessed all 9 red zone forest reserves previously occupied by armed gangs. At the beginning of my service as a minister, I inform the people of Ghana the crisis we face. But I'm happy to tell you today that today we have repossessed all these forests. It doesn't mean we are completely out of the woods, but what it means that the forestry guards are able to enter in and out, and when they need reinforcement, they are supported. Additionally, 279 trucks conveying illegal lumber were intercepted, fined, and the illegal wood confiscated and auctioned. As government strategy to promote legal timber trade, Ghana entered into the voluntary partnership agreement with the EU, aimed at ensuring only legal timber from sustainable managed forests are exported to the EU market. Subsequently, Ghana is expected to issue what we call the Forest Law Enforcement Governance and Trade License, FLET, to accompany all wood exports to the EU market. Ghana is at the final stage of completing the process for issuance of this FLET license, and the key outstanding requirements, the ratification of these TUCs, and I must inform you that we are currently trying to get that done in Parliament. And the effective date of the FLET licenses coming live will be on the 8th of October 2025. I move to a very important initiative that really is on the heart of His Excellency President John Mahama. And that is what we call the Major Reforestation Initiative, Tree for Life initiative. This was launched by His Excellency President John Mahama at Nkawie in the Ashanti region in March this year. On June 5th, the President again led the nation to commence the tree planting exercise, emphasizing the government's commitment to planting 30 million trees. As of mid-July 2025, a total of 7.8 million seedlings have been distributed and planted, out of which 2.3 million were planted by the private sector. The planting campaign is ongoing, with a target expected to be met at the end of the rainy season. And let me note that we just started the planting June and July, and that's really why you see this number. I believe that with the diligence and hard work led by the Forestry Commission team, we will meet the target by October this year. To promote ecotourism, the Commission has received proposals from strategic partners to invest in 5 potential sites: Dija National Park, Shire Hills Resource Reserve, Kalakpa Resource Reserve, Sakumono Ramsar Site, and the Muni Pumazi Ramsar Site. The proposals are being reviewed for PPP, public-private partners, to develop these areas for tourism and local economic growth. One critical area of importance, and I'm moving to the Ghana Geological Survey Authority, is geological investigations, which sits with the Ghana Geological Survey Authority. The authority supports small-scale miners with data on mineralized areas to assist with proper and regulated mining activities. And we intend to retool the authority to delve into this mandate. The reason why the Geological Survey is important is that we ask the question all the time, why are people mining everywhere? Because they don't know where the gold is. If only we can identify mineralized areas, then we can really organize people better in mineralized areas, and so that we don't destroy our lands, our water bodies. And that is why we are strongly focused on retooling the Ghana Geological Survey to identify these mineralized areas. We have also monitored seismic activities nationwide, which is really under the purview of the Geological Survey, with data confirming no imminent geological risk to our country. Critical findings are also utilized to inform engineering designs for infrastructure development, enhancing construction safety standards as well. We also conducted geothermal investigations and mapping to evaluate the viability of integrating geothermal energy into Ghana's energy mix. The findings will support the diversification of renewable energy sources in alignment with national sustainable goals. You know that this is very, very critical in making sure that we have an energy mix that has a lot of renewable, and that will help really meet our renewable energy targets. Furthermore, GGSA is completing investigation on clay deposits in the Greater Accra, Volta, and Central regions, identified as high potential raw material for the ceramic and cement industries, with prospects to boost local industrial production and contribute to economic growth and job creation. And I've been reliably informed that these three regions hold great potential for these minerals. And I'll move to the Lands Commission on Land Administration and Management. As part of the reset agenda to ensure that the administration of lands reaches the doorsteps of every Ghanaian, the Lands Commission has been instructed to decentralize its operations to all districts across the country. I'm happy to announce that 90 new district offices in underserved areas have been so far identified. It is expected that by the end of this year, every district will have Lands Commission office. This initiative aims at bringing land services closer to citizens, in reducing congestion at regional offices and strengthening land governance at the local level. In addition, the Lands Commission is working towards a turnaround time for the completion of all applications within 30 days. This is very critical, and when the President talks about resetting Ghana, it means making life a little more convenient to the people of Ghana. There is no point in anybody in Elembele who wants land services will have to travel to Takoradi to have land services. There's no point. And so this effort is really going to make life very convenient for the people of Ghana, save them a lot of money, and bring efficiency to the operations of the Lands Commission. But we are not stopping there. We also are very much aware of delays and all the bureaucracy at the Lands Commission, of giving a target of a 30 days turnaround time for all applications. And I believe Professor Usu and his team are working very hard to meet this target that has been set for them. The ministry has also established a committee to conduct comprehensive review of all public land allocations to enhance transparency, accountability, and alignment with the national development priorities. The committee, who is looking into this, is expected to finish its work and bring its report by August next month. The legislative instrument to also fully operationalize the Land Act 2020 at 1036 has been prepared and is being reviewed by the Attorney General's Department. The Commission is also reviewing the 1999 National Land Policy to align with international best practices and emerging trends in land governance. The process includes stakeholder consultations and expert input, with the updated policy expected to be finalized by December 2025. So, my friends, the President Research Agenda is to review the Land Act, to review the lands policy. I already told the review of the minerals policy. So we are revamping all these policies to make sure, bring them to modern interest, make sure the input of the people of Ghana are all addressed, basically to transform these sectors. Again, I'm very happy to report that the Lands Commission has collaborated with the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, LASPA, and the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs to integrate local plans as base plans for land registration as part of government's efforts to digitalize land services. We have also upgraded the enterprise land information systems to enhance transparency, accountability, and public access to land-related information to be rolled out in all 16 regions. I know there has been concerns about some of the processes that are on hold. I'm very happy to report that we are working very hard with the review of the committee, and I believe that as soon as those reports are made ready, the President will lift that ban for all those areas. But we must necessarily do that in the interest of the people of Ghana. The Office of the Administrator of True Land has also engaged, and it's a very, very important institution, has also engaged with 548 communities, including traditional authorities, clan heads, and district assemblies to address challenges affecting revenue mobilization. As of June 2025, the agency had mobilized and disbursed 63.8 million Ghana cedis to these traditional authorities. and clan heads and district assemblies. These funds have been disbursed to all regions except the Volta and Upper West regions, which are not stool land areas. Additionally, the office has recorded approximately 1,000 land rights to facilitate the demarcation and establishment of customary land secretariats nationwide. You know, the new Land Act requires the establishment of land secretariat for all these two lands to make sure that they can manage these two lands better and basically reduce chieftaincy disputes. And I think that this effort is also very critical. We now move to the Ghana Boundary Commission, which is another critical institution under the sector. The Ghana Boundary Commission has conducted preliminary orthophoto mapping to complete the first phase of a 150-kilometer joint boundary reaffirmation exercise in the western region of Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire border. The exercise was undertaken in a bid to strengthen border security and management, with a similar exercise with our Togolese neighbors over a 350-kilometer stretch to combat smuggling, irregular migration, and cross-border threats. On maritime boundary inspections, we have completed 4 joint maritime inspections with Cote d'Ivoire, confirming full compliance with established boundaries. I think this is very critical. If you recall, we had challenges with Cote d'Ivoire with our maritime boundary. And I think we have made a decision as a country to make sure that we take the step proactively to forestall such threats in the future. And that's why these engagements are very critical. We have also generated accurate geospatial data to support future boundary marker construction and bilateral cooperation. Also, in order to address transnational organized crime and promote sustainable livelihoods in border communities through skills training and sensitization initiatives, the Ghana Boundary Commission implemented phase 2 of the mitigation of destabilizing effects of transnational organized crime project, reaching 4,600 residents in 20 border communities in Upper West and Savannah regions. And I move to the Mineral Development Fund, which has implemented several strategic initiatives to foster sustainable development and create alternative economic opportunities in mining communities. Under the auspices of the ministry, the MDF is conducting a comprehensive feasibility study for poultry feed production to complement the government's Nkoko Nkiti project. And this is a very serious project, to think about it. And that is why this initiative is a very welcome one. This initiative will provide viable alternatives to imported feed products, create employment opportunity for the youth, and support national food security objectives and advance import substitution strategies. We now move to GIADEC, the Ghana Integrated Iron. This is GISDEC, the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation. This is one institution that holds key potential for our country, which seeks to bring order to the scrap metal industry. To this end, a scrap metal policy has been developed to regulate the industry. I think a lot of us agree that the scrap regulation is long overdue and we must regulate it. The corporation has successfully issued 3 licenses covering an area of 397.5 kilometers square for the Shini Iron Ore Project. Additionally, Jamurumi and Bodada Block 2 and the Pudo Iron Ore Block have all yielded high-grade iron ore in exploration resource, and that's why I say that GISDEC holds a great potential for our country. These blocks are now ready for exploitation, pending investor interest. Move to GIADEC now. At the heart of Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation's vision is a commitment to unlock the full potential of Ghana's bauxite reserves. And I'm very happy that CEO Chumasi and the team are focusing on this area while ensuring long-term value addition creation for the country. In line with this vision and in support of government's resetting Ghana agenda, we develop a new strategic path and policy objective to guide GIADEC towards becoming a financially sustainable and commercially independent state institution. GIADEC secured 6 bauxite mining leases in June 2025, pending parliamentary ratification. This aims to strengthen Ghana's control over its bauxite resources and accelerate extraction to 2 million metric cubic tons per annum. We are exploring strategic partnerships in new bauxite mine development, including a 250-kilometer railway infrastructure for bauxite transport, expansion of the Takoradi port, and improved development of VALCO. All these efforts align with Ghana's vision to become a global player in the integrated aluminium industry. And ladies and gentlemen, this holds a key transformative effect for our country if we are able to do that, to really fulfill the dream long envisioned by our Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And that's why the President is really supportive of this initiative. And so, in bringing our briefs to an end, ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is on course to achieve its mandate. Its mandate is to ensure the sustainable management and utilization of the nation's lands, forests, and wildlife resources, as well as the efficient management of our mineral resources for socio-economic growth and development. But let me make it clear, the Ministry is under no illusion that the fight against illegal mining is an easy one. We know that it's a marathon and not a sprint. We will definitely prevail at the end. I'm very sure about that, if you clearly follow the measures we have put in place. We are also not against mining at all. In fact, we are trying to do everything to encourage responsible and sustainable mining. And we will do everything to support responsible mining. But ladies and gentlemen, we have drawn a line in the sand. And I believe the President is very focused on that. We have drawn a line in the sand, and we will fight against irresponsible, reckless mining activities that endanger our very lives. Let me also assure the good people of Ghana that we are steadfast, we are committed, and focused on winning this fight of our lifetime. And with the political will and support of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, and I have to tell you, we get that assurance on a weekly basis. When key ministers that he has set up are meeting with him on a weekly basis to address the progress we are making. This is how serious he takes this fight. We will ensure that our water bodies are turned blue, that our forests are turned green, and our environment is restored and preserved for posterity. I therefore call on all well-meaning Ghanaians and other partners to join us in this fight to save the soul of our country. I thank you, and may God bless our homeland, Ghana. Welcome.
All right, thank you, Honorable Minister, for that crisp but detailed presentation. So the floor is opened at this time for questions from the media on the presentation that has been made, or any matters relating to the lands and natural resources sector or Galamsey.
Komla Kluche, I work at TV3. You said the Forestry Commission has successfully repossessed all 9 red-zoned forest reserves previously occupied by armed gangs protecting illegal miners. So that's a quote from what you just read. What's the status of the others in the face of what UTAC has said, that you are doing very little when it comes to the fight against Galamsey? Then secondly, you also touched on one of the things that the MDF is doing, that's the Minerals Development Fund, where they are undertaking a comprehensive feasibility study for poultry feed production to complement government's Nkukon Kitinkiti program. I want to find out, and you can educate me, is this part of the mandate, and to what extent is this also supposed to be part of the CSR for the MDF?
Thank you very much. No, we have 5 questions. and this round, after which we'll come back. Yeah.
Okay, I am Akosi Awotre. I work with City FM Channel 1 TV. Honorable Minister, I want to find out from you. On July 10, you gave clear orders for EMP and Azuma Resources to within 7 days resolve the impasse. I want to tell you that it's 13 days and we want to know what the status is. Secondly, in October 2020, His Excellency, then presidential candidate, gave orders that should he win, he was going to ensure that jailed miners are freed. And then subsequently, in January this year, in fact, during your swearing in, he charged for intensified efforts to arrest these galamseyers. Now we are seeing the arrest. But what is the assurance that as time goes on, we do not see these jailed miners being freed? Thank you.
Thank you. No, 3 more questions before we come here. So, note.
My name is Shadrach Odamejare, Metro TV. Honorable, my question is on land, again, under the Lands Commission details you gave. I think before this government came into power, there were alleged cases of previous functionaries stealing or improperly taking lands. What is the roadmap, or what has happened to this issue? And then also there were cases of extortion at the Lands Commission before this government came into power. What has practically been done? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, my name is Wisdom Hedejumi. I work with TVXYZ. Still on the Lands Commission. A 2019 report showed that the Lands Commission is one of the most corrupt institutions in the country. Mm-hmm. I just want to find out, with all of these that's been said, what is the ministry doing practically to ensure that the lives of the staff of the Lands Commission is made better so they stop this corrupt acts, if that's it to say?
This is alleged corruption. You must clarify.
There's a report.
Yeah, but the report was only alleging corruption. That is what it is. So we need to clarify and put things in proper perspective. Yes. Last one, and then come. Please go ahead, Ian.
I'm ED with the Ghana News Agency.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Minister, please, you said the years of prospecting, you are going to review it. And we know that it's likely some companies will be affected. So how will you address such challenges? Somebody might have been given 30 years to do prospecting, and now you are going to review it. How will you address such challenges? Then number 2, we realize that desertification is affecting our country. And
desertification, yeah.
Yeah. So we are looking at how to address this situation. So we want to know whether there are some modalities to look at it.
All right, thank you very much. So the minister would answer these 5 questions, after which we'll come back to another set of 5 questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think if you follow the responses that I gave, I think that you will see that, number 1, you were talking about the 9 forests that has been freed. I think I was very clear about what it took, the effort it took. And the reason why we are very emphasizing that is because either to the Forestry Commission, which has forestry guards, could not enter these forest areas. And what I'm saying today is that the forest guards are now able to actually monitor these forest areas. It does not mean that these bad guys have completely stopped going there, but we must continuously keep at it to ward them off and make sure we can protect these areas. Today we are able to do that, and that is what we have been able to do in collaboration with the Ghana Armed Forces and National Security. The MDF is an institution that's mandate is to supervise the allocation of mineral funds to the mining districts in the country, that they have 20% after the distribution, and that 20% is to basically to be used to really enrich the lives of people in these mining areas. So it is really within their mandate to do that. Yes, I issued a directive on the July 10th and that And there were really good justification for the minister responsible for mining to do that. First, Ghana is a shareholder in that enterprise. We have 10% in that enterprise. Any delay in continuing the exploitation of that resources affects the people of Ghana directly in terms of revenue, taxes, and empowering the people in those areas. This particular lease has been given for over 5 years or so. And so first it was within the minister's right to make sure that we address the issue. But I'm happy to inform you that after that letter, these two companies have really made progress. In fact, I received a letter from Azuma Resources informing me that they've reached very conclusive agreements with EMP. And that should tell you that I think those in it, that letter really has impact. I think the Attorney General will be taking his turn. He will have the chance. I think, let me be very clear, it's a policy to make sure we draw the line in such sectors. And I'm very capable of Attorney General. I'm sure when he comes, he will talk about any freeing of any prisoner. The Lands Commission, I think I talked about, there were issues about land, loot, state lands and all of that. And that's exactly why we set up the Land Review Committee to review all of these issues. And I'm very happy to tell you that they've been giving me updates and we are making a lot of progress. I think in my statement I stated that their report should be ready next month in August. And I believe that we will inform the people of Ghana accordingly. The Lands Commission allegedly being the most corrupt. I think when I went to visit the Lands Commission, I also stated those public sentiments. But that's exactly why we are doing what we are doing. You know, do you know how we keep people honest? Technology. Make sure we can basically digitalize processes. Make sure we can decentralize processes so that people are not, the whole Ghana is not traveling to Greater Accra. And then there will be too much lines and one person becomes God. That is why I'm making sure that Lands Commission offices in every district, and then making sure that we push for the digitalization of their services and make sure that it's convenient and easy. And that is why we've given the directive for a 30-day turnaround. I believe with the combination of all of this, we will see a very effective Lands Commission in Ghana. I think that the review is ongoing, but as I want you to know that in Ghana we don't do retrospective laws, and so if we have already given somebody a right and we really have new laws, I think we are always guided to make sure, and that's why this place is a place where investors always come to Ghana to invest. We will not jump on them and throw anything at them suddenly where they are not going to be aware of it. And so some of those agreements are really, sanctified, and we are going to respect that. But going forward, exactly what are the things that we can do to really empower the people of Ghana and make sure that the resources of Ghana, all of the things we are doing, if you look at the Mining Act and the things I've said, are basically putting Ghanaians at the commanding height of our industry, empowering the people of Ghana. This was the vision. So the vision of our founders, that we must get to the point where the people of Ghana are the real beneficiary of these resources. And I believe that me and you, our time, we must make sure we push. And this is what the president is fighting for. And when the president says that he is making sure that large-scale mining companies, and I'll tell you, already just in the last 6 months, we've been able to negotiate, and just by March next year, we are going to get a mine that was 30 years old back in the hands of the people of Ghana. And we believe that that is in the right direction. And that's why we are doing all these reviews and policy reviews. I think that the desertification question was very important. But the Tree for Life initiative that has been launched directly addresses the issue of reforestation and afforestation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, if there are any other questions, we will take them now.
Thank you very much, Honorable. My name is Patrick with Radio Good. First and foremost, I want to find out from you, and I believe you've heard this call by civil society organizations and faith-based organizations as well, for government to declare states of emergency on illegal mining. What is the challenge with government? That is why you've not been able to do it. And secondly, I want to find out concerning the repealing of the act, that is LI 2462, has been also demanded by UTAG. Thank you very much.
All right, on that one, let me indicate that the Minister for Environment will be here on this platform to speak to that. The principle in government is that ministers stick to issues within their sector. So even though we know of the close collaboration between his office and the Minister for Environment and other sectors, we want to reserve that for the sector-specific minister to speak to. That is the LI. So when the Environment Minister comes, he will address that into greater detail. Yeah.
Honorable, where you there? Blue water gas, no. Minu ebi ote mikro mu jama enough recruitment mo ya ne sen obede na wate na omo fit te sen after wo mo adwuma no because ye hu de napko beye ye temporary employment ay creating my youth no ya na enta amoa enti wo mo adwuma no mu wie na ye nsuo no eni ti a what is their fate akwanta mine so yen share danya update bia wo ho ena ma cho blue water gas no ma equip mo mu yie because galamsey for no weapons o mu kura no sa afi no mo be free reinforcement ama military for every baby abebo mo ahwe ana ebe ya asem foforo nti me pese mi hu se o mo kɔ no ma equip o mo timi tutu o ma ne yeyi ana me da ase elembele star boy.
My name is Maxwell Agbagba. I work with Joy FM and Enjoy News. We are told that the gold board, between the period January to June, raked in an amount of $5 billion, approximately $5 billion, after we exported 51.5 tons of gold. Now, there are some people who are saying that although this is good, we may perhaps be sacrificing environmental protection on the altar of economic stability. I know the government has put in place mechanisms such as geotagging and all of that to make sure that the gold that the gold board is buying is from legitimate sources. But I want to find out what practical measures have we put in place on the ground. My second question, sometime in April, the Interior Minister announced a major policy shift that said that we are not interested in prosecuting foreigners engaged in illegal mining. We'll rather deport them. I want to find out from that period, so now, how many foreigners engaged in illegal mining have we deported? Thank you.
Again, that would fall under the remit of the Interior Ministry, not the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry. Yes. Please go ahead.
So, good afternoon. My name is Emmanuel Romeo Tete. I work with Ahunto FM. Please, my question is, Honorable, what assurance can you give to the citizens that the new land reforms just outlined won't just benefit the elites, but also the ordinary Ghanaians who most of the time struggle with land documentations? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so two last questions.
Minister, thank you. Abdul Hanan Adam, EIB Network. Minister, you shed tears on TV after reportedly watching the destruction of some areas. And reports indicate that in the Western North region, one of your colleagues is engaged in illegal mining. And the traditional authorities banished him from the community. I want to ask if you've informed the Speaker of Parliament for processes to begin to investigate your colleague in Parliament regarding illegal mining. Secondly, I want to find out about the Lab 2 of the Lands Commission, whether you intend to continue it, because we understand that it was discontinued. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to find out from you, Honorable Minister, if the aim of the Land Act 2020 is to enable government to appropriate land that belong to state institutions such as GBC. Because a piece of land that was given to GBC in 1956 by a certificate of allocation was appropriated a few years ago, and a mansion has been built on it. And as we speak, not a PESWA has been given to GBC. And the explanation is that, well, with the act in place, government of Ghana can appropriate any land that belongs to any state institution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So the Honorable Minister will answer these questions.
Thank you. I think anytime I hear state of emergency, I go back to the things we are doing to show that we are treating this matter as a matter of national emergency. In my speech, I was very clear about a complete overhaul of the licensing regime. It's part of the problem. If we are able to make sure that the licensing regime is more transparent and efficient, and that the turnaround time for licensing, those people who are engaging in illegal mining, because they can't just go through this bureaucracy, will follow and get licenses. That's one. And that's exactly why we are doing that. We are basically put very strict regulation on excavators, and I described the length and breadth of how excavators will enter the country, how they will be regulated from the port to geofencing them, geo-tracking them, and making sure that the control room at Mineral Commission will know every movement 24 hours a day. I talked to you about the coordination with the security forces, the police and the army, national security, and making sure that the ministry is taking the lead by coordinating these efforts into the establishment of a nerve center called NEMOS. This is really treating this matter as an emergency. I told you of bringing about the Blue Water Guards to make sure we train them to cover riverine areas as the first responders, intelligence officers. Under that purview, we've had 12 naval riverine bases. They are very close to where the naval guards, Blue Water Guards are located, so that they can really be informed and respond. More than that, they are intelligence officers and educators of the importance of not polluting waters in those riverine areas in the community. That is treating this matter as an emergency. The Tree for Life initiative, that is really driving to make sure that we can plant millions of trees to restore our degraded lands. I talked about 7,500 degraded lands, and we are doing everything to aggressively make sure we can plant trees and bring it back and make it green again. Turning the water blue and turning this green aggressively in all these initiatives. Establishing cooperative mining, where we intend to organize mining better, empower people in communities, training them, giving them the tools they need, enhancing the capacity of geological survey, working with large-scale mining companies to identify mineralized areas, and putting people in organized groups. I believe that all of this are treating this issue as clearly a very urgent matter. Since I became minister, see me all over the place engaging and educating, sensitizing, revamping the laws. All of this is to tell you that President John Mahama is treating this issue of illegal mining with all the urgency it deserves. And that's my answer to anybody who asks me about how the state of matter has been treated. And so that's my answer. Blue Water Guard, Miniaba. Blue Water Guard, Ejuma no ehia papa. Nkrofo na omo se nsuo no omo krom na yafa nkrofo na afi. Omo ankasa oti Ankobra River na no. Na nkrofo wo krom ho na ankasa na ese no. Wo so ankasa sisia ya ko kire say wo se nsuo na ya ese no ekun nyina. Chemicals cry komo niema. Me no can say just a few months I have Blue Water Guards. Omo champions for communities in the area. More than that, omo ye intelligence officers aye mo. My catch up say omo ni navy for na ejuma, and it's giving them an outlook that is different from where they were. It is also really helping them to be community champions. I think that when I went to speak to these Blue Water Guards, what I told them is that they should go back into history and think about the crisis of our time, which is this one we are talking about. And just imagine that they are the ones that have been selected in the spirit of the young pioneers to move around to make sure we fight to turn our waters blue again. How do you feel when you drive around and you look at our water bodies and they turn brown? It is us who have to do it. And so to have young people believe that this is not so much about money, it's about the future of our country, I think it's a big deal. And that's what we are doing. And I believe that they have a future because the Minerals Commission is working on a long-term plan for them. And so they have to tell you, we believe say experience or in Sukra Tenny Brewer or more experience Bibi Crab to me aqua navy. Bibi to me aqua idea more life experience the gold board. I think all the things I've talked about is to make sure there's transparent sourcing of gold. This is critical. We are moving to a place where the sources of gold, if we are not able to put these systems that I've been talking about, in making sure we have even cooperative mining. We recently had the mining in motion. We brought the world's most powerful players of the gold industry. They were so impressed about the steps Ghana is taking. And we are now going to have all sorts of support, especially with refining, mini refineries in every place where we have cooperative mining. What that does is that this gold, when it's exported, the world will be assured we know the sources of this gold and they are coming from legitimate legal sources, and because of that Ghana's gold will have to pay. So we are doing everything, working in collaboration with the gold board to make sure that this gold that we are actually sending out are coming from legal and sustainable sources. I think they've talked about the foreigners. Land reforms is very critical. Are we doing everything that to make sure that it benefits ordinary Ghanaians? Yes. When you hear me say that I've given directive to make sure land services are at the doorsteps of the people, it's making sure that ordinary Ghanaians are empowered. That it doesn't have to cost you so much money to take a car from, say, Kaswa to Accra and come and form long lines, because we are trying to make sure the lines are gone. We are trying to make sure that the turnaround time for these services are gone. We are trying to make sure that we are digitalizing the services. And the question about Lab 2, yes, we want to make sure we pursue it, and we are already working with them to work to make sure we can get the necessary players who will come and partner us to continue with Lab 2. I think you talk about the MP. Alleged allegations about the Member of Parliament. I am aware that the Speaker of Parliament is already investigating this matter, and I'll leave that from the Land Act 2022 to enable government appropriate state lands. I think he talked about the GBC experience. I think it's a very important question. I am working on a directive from His Excellency the President, who has directed all state institutions. The fact that there's a land available, does not make that land some right for that institution to basically, now under President John Mahama, no agency or institution land can be sold at all without express permission of the president himself. And so the whole intention is to stop that. I talked about the review of all of those land sales. That is what the President has directed us for the land review committee made up of the Works and Housing and the Ministry of Lands. And we are working to review every transaction to make sure that it was done above board, to make sure that there was value for money, so that the people of Ghana are not shortchanged. Those are the things we are doing, and I made it clear that those reports will be available next month. I thank you. Akuntamani. What did you say about Akuntamani? Huh? Well, huh? Oh, I think the Attorney General gave me a brief about the progress they are making, and they were making sure that they get all the information they need about all the agencies that are connected, Minerals Commission and others, and I'm told that they are moving full steam ahead with Akuntamani, but with all other investigations and prosecutions. And I believe, when I say we've drawn the line in the sand, this fight is not about NDC or MPP. It's about the soul of our country. And if you don't understand it, you won't understand it. It is that way. And we believe that we will try to make sure we make services, we make licensing regime easy, so that everybody will have the right to do the right thing. But trust me, we will not cover anybody who breaks the law. I thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for attending upon us and giving us insight into what you have been doing in the last 6 months in fulfillment of the mandates bestowed upon you by His Excellency the President. Let me also thank media men present here and announce that on Monday, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice will be here to provide an update on oral. He will speak to not Monday. Tomorrow, the Minister for Finance will present the mid-year budget review, which is likely to occupy the public space for the remaining days of this week. That is why it has become necessary to shift the Attorney General's briefing to Monday, so that there's enough time to digest the budget statement, the budget review that the Minister for Finance will be presenting. But when the Attorney General comes, I know that there are burning questions in respect of oral and its implementation. Only yesterday there was a matter of Unibank and some arrangement that has been reached. The Attorney General will take the opportunity to offer insights into the reasoning behind the position that was taken and announced yesterday. And then he has a case he calls Ramble in the Jungle, which he will delve into to apprise the people of Ghana about what it entails. But until then, I thank you all for coming. See you.